We all know what long-term thinking is, but how many of us actually practice it in our daily life? Conceptually, we understand the idea of long-term thinking. It's fairly simple. We think 5, 10, 15, however many years into the future, and then we do things that help us to achieve some kind of long-term goal that we have. But the thing is that humans, although we can think long term, we don't tend to act long term. We tend to get very caught up in distractions, cheap dopamine sources like junk food, computer games, social media, TV, things like this. And although all that stuff is fine in some, moderation, we tend to overdo a lot of this stuff. And before I go any further, I'd like to break down this tweet that I made. That is, we all know what long-term thinking is, but we get distracted, anxious, impatient, and lost in the present and lose sight of it. There's a deep emotional aspect to successful long-term thinking and acting. You need to increase your EQ for high-quality long-term thinking. So we get distracted, anxious, impatient, and lost in the sort of problems that we perceive of in the present moment, like someone yelling at you, you lash out, and now we kind of lose sight of our vision. We get very sucked into some sort of pretty insignificant problem, like some minor fight, or we feel anxious and scared about maybe losing $100 somehow, or we just feel a little bit impulsive in the moment. We feel distracted and we run to our phone, or we run to the fridge and start, eating when we're not hungry just because we're bored, just to indulge. And I've been there. And it's important to recognize that we're actually doing this. We have to actually become aware that we're doing this, and it's a little bit ridiculous if we're honest. We actually have to recognize that although we understand what long-term thinking is as a concept, acting in alignment with that is pretty damn hard. In order to actually really achieve long-term goals, you have to put in effort every single day towards something, and unfortunately, the vast majority of people just don't do this. They get stuck in things that don't really mean anything to them, like the job that they hate or a mediocre toxic relationship, things like this, poor diet habits, a lack of commitment to personal growth. And there's no judgment really, but I'm just kind of stating, the obvious, at least to me, that most people are, my God, this sounds rude, acting kind of like animals. We're just chasing our basic needs and then struggling to go beyond them into self-actualization and self-transcendence. And there's nothing wrong with getting basic needs met. We all need food, love, approval, self-esteem, things like this, shelter. But there's just more to it. There's more to the human game that's being played right here than just this stuff. And really, the survival needs, the basic needs, we need them to live, but they're not very fulfilling. That's why we have higher needs like self-actualization and self-transcendence. So when it comes to long-term thinking, there's a deep emotional component to it. Our emotions in the present moment dictate a lot of how we're actually acting. When we think of long-term thinking, we think of it as a very mental, abstract thing, and there's not enough credit that goes to our emotions in long-term thinking and our instincts and our overall ability to restrain ourselves from distracting short-term pleasures. And when I mean restrain, I don't mean like fight yourself to do it. I mean like a genuine desire to stay in alignment with your goals rather than be pulled off track by your phone ringing for it's your friends calling you to hang out, smoke weed with them, and the Instagram notifications going off, and a bunch of stuff like this. Really, your emotions play a very deep role in your life. I mean, I hope that's somewhat obvious. And you need to learn how to create a system or a routine, a pattern, a set of habits in your life that can help you to feel clear and healthy so that you can act in alignment with long-term thinking. Because if we, get the idea of long-term thinking, but then we eat junk food, we don't meditate, we don't, consistently work every single day to making ourselves more healthy, smart, sharper, focused, some basic stuff to personal growth, if we aren't committing to that, we're not really going to be getting anywhere. We're going to be stuck drinking wine on the couch, arguing with our significant other, eating popcorn, watching TV, because, we were just sucked into mindless distractions on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on the TV, etc. So our sort of emotional unintelligence will be the reason why we fail to create a sustainable, healthy future for ourselves as individuals, and a collective. So emotional intelligence has a massive aspect to do with long-term thinking, although typically we tend to think of long-term thinking as purely mental and abstract. That's just not the case. Our instincts and impulses play a massive role in our ability to, act in alignment with that. So it's not enough to just understand the idea of long-term thinking. You need to rewire your instincts and emotional system so that you can act in alignment with that, which is totally different. And really what I'm saying here, you need to ground this into your life through some kind of embodiment practice, basically, which is meditation, breath work, yoga. What that really means is you need to take the information I'm saying and use this as a wake-up call to get into your body, to get into your emotions, to actually feel the sensations in your body. Because this isn't just a mental thing. This is not just an abstract mental thing. You need to physically feel the sensations that are going through your body and actually remain in contact with them. Do not let them, throw you around and pull you. And this doesn't mean fight yourself. You're not fighting your emotions. If an impulse comes up, this means you're fully witnessing it and feeling it as fully as you can rather than avoiding it. Feeling your emotions and remaining in contact with them is actually how you control them, by letting them fully come out and arise and be seen and felt. That's how you control them. Really, controlling emotions has nothing to do with dominating them or pushing them away or repressing them or not letting them come out. Controlling them has everything to do with remaining in contact with them, with actually not pushing them away or pulling on them, resisting them, fighting them, hating them, judging them as good or bad, positive or negative. There's there's a lot of judgments we have of emotions. There's no actual negative emotion. Usually when we say negative, we just mean an emotion that is hard for us to handle, like shame, fear, guilt, anger, things like this. And a lot of these emotions usually cause some sort of destruction or chaos in our life because we are so emotionally unintelligent and don't know how to actually get into our body and feel them and how to transmute this energy into something more positive. Positive meaning something that helps us to get things that we want and just feel good, feel healthy, and survive, really. When it comes to long-term thinking, we need to increase our EQ in order to actually successfully do that, or else our impulses will get in the way of that. Our sort of emotional trauma will get in the way of that. Some ways to do this are just by becoming more self-aware, by bringing awareness into your body and feeling what is there. Like, actually stop running away from your body and feel what's going on inside of you. Pay attention to your thoughts and your instincts and your emotions, and don't judge yourself for whatever it is you feel. Just feel what's there and remove any judgment. So meditation is powerful for that. Like I said, you need an embodiment practice. You need to get into your body. If this is just at an intellectual level for you, you're not going to have the awareness necessary to act in alignment with your long-term goals. You need to make a distinction between responding and reacting, and you need to learn how to respond to life instead of react to it. And if you aren't self-aware, if you aren't in touch with your body, that's going to be way harder. That's going to be significantly harder. You need to actually remain grounded in your own being, in your body, in your sensations, in your emotions, in contact with them. You need to remain aware of your thoughts. And when you start to run away from the stuff, when you start to disassociate from it, you become more reactive and more like a, impulsive animal, rather than staying aware of yourself and staying in a deep sense of contact and connection to yourself. So that's all insanely important for actually acting in alignment with your long-term goals. Really, if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section below. I also have a book list. Check that out. Check out I believe it's Systems and Strategic Thinking of that section. The self-actualization section is also really good. So check that out. It's full of very valuable resources. I have the self-awareness worksheet. I also do one-to-one coaching, so you can book me. Everything is in the links in the description. Let me know if you have any problems with anything. Other than that, take it easy.